These are the stories of the people who enrich our community.
Calling Kent Home Council Edition. Meet the men and women of your Kent City Council. We asked them a number of questions, including what inspired you to run for City Council.
I wanted to have council represent the people. I felt like in 2011 the council had kind of lost touch with the residents and what their needs were. The budget crunch time and the fact that they were trying to or were thinking about canceling the neighborhood program, which in my opinion has been one of the most successful programs for the residents, was one of my driving factors. As a neighborhood president who saw the change in my neighborhood since we became a neighborhood council. When I first moved here in 2006, my neighborhood had one of the worst crime rates. I mean, we had meth houses, we had prostitutes, we had needles everywhere, abandoned cars, stolen vehicles. Once we got together and started working to become a neighborhood program, we're now one of the safer neighborhoods. We've got rid of meth houses, we don't have prostitutes, we don't have needles found at the park. Kids are still able to be kids and play, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be that voice of the average citizen that doesn't have the time to get involved, but is passionate about the city and passionate about quality of life.
What was the most surprising change you've seen in Kent?
Most surprising change I've seen has probably been attitude. And not just in Kent itself, but in people outside of Kent. When I first moved to Washington in 2002, Kent was definitely seen as a cow town and not a destination, and not someplace that you wanted to live. In 2005 and 2006, when I started looking for a place where I wanted to live, because Seattle was not the place I wanted to be, coming here, this definitely was a place, and I had co-workers who lived in Kent, and they actually encouraged me to look at it and to give Kent a try. And seeing Kent through the residents' eyes, I saw a city that was vibrant. I saw a city that was still in touch with its small town feel, but was sophisticated and was emerging as an urban center for the young professional. My friends who live in Seattle and on the east side now don't see it as a cow town. They actually see it as some place to go that has amazing restaurants, great nightlife, great parks, and amazing amenities to have people come and visit from out of town. And it doesn't hurt that the Thunderbirds are here. So they get to come several times, you know, a month and watch a hockey game, but get to enjoy what I enjoy. They can walk to go eat and then walk to the Showware Center and walk around downtown and see what nightlife there is. So that's the biggest change, is perception. We're now getting recognized for who we are and who we've been.
What long-term changes would you like to see in Kent?
I'd like to see our parks connected. I'd love to see a trail system that connects the West Hill to the East Hill, so that cyclists and families don't always have to be on the sidewalks and in city streets. We have enough open space. At least I think we do. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see our warehouse district full. I'd like to see businesses clamoring to be here because this is the place to be, because it's still affordable to have a business, and they're still accessible to the ports and the airport, and it's centrally located, and they have the ability to get goods and services out on major highways and interstates. I'd like to see affordable housing for everyone, not just folks who are on Section 8, but folks who are working poor but aren't relegated to living in a slum like they would be if they were in Seattle, that they have a great place to live that they can call home and are proud to call home. I'd like to see the seniors have a great thriving community where it's not just at the senior center, but where they can go anywhere in their community and they can feel welcomed.
How do you describe Kent to a person who has never been here?
I describe Kent to my friends who are still in my hometown of Whittier, who've never been here, who've actually never left LA, as the Whittier that we grew up in, the small town that's right next to the big town. You have everything you want in the small town and you never have to go into that. We have trees, we have trails, much like we have in uptown Whittier, but we have culture. We have a diverse culture. We're like the melting pot of the Pacific Northwest. We have over 46 dialects. We have refugees and immigrants that actually came here seeking this place because they've heard that this was the safest and most economically viable place for them to get started in their American dream. You can still buy a house here and not have to pay, you know, $1 million or $500,000. I describe it as a big city that's still a small city. It's the place where you want to raise your kids, where you don't have to worry about crime, where you can still let your kids play at the park and not worry that they're going to be snatched, where neighbors talk to one another, where I've seen women walk across the street with literally a cup looking for sugar or flour. And you don't find that in Seattle. You don't find that in Bellevue. This is still a city where people care about each other. And most people I know in LA or anywhere else that I've talked to, they think that's one of the coolest things about why I moved here and why I stay here and why I'm so passionate, is that it still harkens back to a time that's not really around anymore. And people are clamoring for that community. And so I keep trying to get my people to come up here because this is a great quality of life.
What do you do for fun? What are your hobbies?
I guess I'm like everyone else. I love hanging out with my animals. I have a rescue dog. Every animal I own is a rescue. I have 2 parrots that entertain me nightly while we watch TV together. I garden. I'm an avid gardener. I built a greenhouse. I have a raised garden bed. I cycle. I kayak. My sister got me into stand-up paddleboarding a couple years ago. Not as good as I should be or want to be, but I absolutely love it. And it's that time of the year when my sister and I can go and spend 4 to 6 hours out on the water, not a care in the world, and have a great time. I used to play softball all the time until I tore my knee. I do CrossFit when I can find the time. I hike. I do crossword puzzles. Actually, my big passion is jigsaw puzzles. It kind of relates to who I'm as a person. I'm always trying to find where the pieces fit and how everything can come together seamlessly without causing too much strife. So, and I like hanging out with my neighbors, you know, barbecuing and letting our dogs play together.
Why did you choose Lake Fenwick for your interview?
It is one of my favorite parks in the city, partially because it reminds me of where I spent 12 years in Northern California in Humboldt County on the coast. There I was surrounded by redwoods. Here, you know, you're surrounded by cedar trees and Doug firs. You have a great lake. I've come fishing here. I've actually kayaked here and I've hiked the trail here, and good Lord, I've even ran the stairs up there, which, yeah, that's not a fun time unless you're into that sort of abuse. And I picked it because I really like being outside and I like being in nature. And what better place to be than in a Kent Park and showcasing to everyone the beauty that we have available to us just walking out your door.